asked you earlier if I could have 5 minutes to address the commission and the staff for a moment. There was one paragraph in our Friday update that tied my stomach in knots for the whole weekend. And it appeared to me after I read this that decisions are being made that are not being made publicly. They're decisions that are being made somewhere else, off-site. And it just really bothered me. I read this and I had no idea that it was coming. I had no idea it was happening. And I'll just read you the paragraph, but I'd like to discuss it just a little bit with the commission. And it says, Thursday morning, Claire, Gene Beaker, and I spoke with John Ryan regarding meeting with federal representatives of TSA regarding obtaining TSA for the Clovis Municipal Airport. John is scheduling meetings for Mayor Pro Tem Bose, Commissioner Bryant, and Claire with TSA and the federal delegation when they travel to Washington at the end of the month. The other two subjects for discussion will be reauthorization of the $500,000 which was originally given to the city for the Hull Street overpass and funding for the effluent reuse pipeline. When I read this, I was stunned. I didn't know they were going. We hadn't had a public meeting. We hadn't discussed it. I didn't know these guys were going to Washington. And I don't know how they decided on these subjects and the timing. Why are we going now? And I just kind of tried to decide, should I address it tonight? Should I wait till the first public meeting and address it? I felt that was inappropriate because I need to address it before they go. That seems appropriate to me. I've tried to question things along the way, and it seems like I'm not getting anywhere, so I thought I need to maybe address it publicly. And there's 3 primary questions that I just can't get around. Number 1 was, why was this decision not made in a public meeting? Why didn't we have a discussion about it? Why wasn't it brought before the commission? I think Mr. Richards, probably 8 or 10 years ago, I had an item on the agenda, and immediately before me, there was a discussion about any time commissioners traveled out of state, that there would be some kind of a public notification policy. I don't know whatever happened to that. I don't know if it was decided they were going to do it or not do it. I'd appreciate if you look that up later. But that's part of what went through my head was, I thought we had a policy that if commissioners were going out of state, we would talk about it. But I can't figure out why this decision or why this discussion was not a public meeting. I couldn't figure out why not all the commissioners were known about this. Why was this not communicated to all the commissioners? Why was it selected? Why did some know about it and some didn't know about it? Because I didn't know about it. And I called another commissioner, and he didn't know about it. Because I thought, you know, I missed a meeting, I'm out of the loop, whatever. But I'm not the only one that didn't get communication. There was others. And the third thing is, who made the decision? Who decided this is the 3 people that need to go, this is the time they need to go, and this is the agenda they need to carry? Who made that decision? Who had the authority to make that decision? Because I thought the city commission was the governing body that decided those kind of things. As I worked through why was this decision not made in a public meeting, I began to wonder, because we had no discussion and no debate, how do we know that we have the right representation going? I mean, a lot of people think if someone's going to Washington to represent the city, it needs to be the mayor. He's the guy that should go. He's elected to be the representative. By charter, that's his charge, to represent the citizens of Clovis. So why isn't he going? And if we're going to talk about the TSA, why isn't Gene Beaker going? If we're going to talk about effluent, Justin Howell and probably Durwood Billington know more than the guys that designed the system. Why are they not going? Why did these 3 go? Is this the best time to go? We're going into a lame duck Congress. Their mind is on 2 things. We've got a fiscal cliff for our country that we're facing. We got to do something with America's finances. And they're also discussing, what are we going to do with the military? We're going to cut the military 40% or 50%. Both those things are argued in the media as to which one is the top priority. I don't see that this is the right time to go. I'll tell you also, I talked to John Ryan, our federal representative or federal lobbyist, and he told me it's not likely that much of anything is going to happen. Well, if it's not likely anything's going to happen, why are we going? And is this the right subject matter at the time? Is this what we need to go and talk about? We need to talk about TSA and the Hull Street Bridge and the effluent pipeline? The TSA issue just confuses me. I'm not on the airport board, I don't understand it. But they were just here, the TSA group, and they had some pretty high leadership in town for a meeting. And the newspaper covered, reported it, and the newspaper concluded, everything's fine, everything's in process. All we need is to meet a certain employment. If we hit certain employment, we're gonna be in pretty good shape. So, they were just here, why are we going out there? What's the purpose behind that? The Whole Street Bridge, I just thought, why can't we write them a letter? Why do we have to have 3 delegates spend $6,000 or $8,000 of people's money to go out there to ask them, let's move the money from here to there? Why can't we write them a letter? Like I said, the effluent pipeline, it's my understanding that the grant money for effluent pipeline or effluent reuse is housed in the Bureau of Reclamation and the Army Corps of Engineers. That's where we should be going. But the note we got says they're going to go talk to our federal delegation. Our federal delegation is very much aware. I mean, I've personally carried booklets on effluent reuse to the federal delegation. So I know they know about it. What do we hope to gain by going out there right now? What's the deliverable? What are we going to come home with? Do we expect to change things in this climate that's out there right now? Do we expect to bring something good back to our community out of this meeting, spending all these monies? Those are just all the things that I think would have been flushed out had we had a public discussion, if it was been brought before the commission and discussed. I think all of that would have been flushed out. Why was this not